Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Good morning. Today I'm going to show you how to create 100 landing pages in 3 hours without any coding or scripts. You may have been to these talks before on programmatic SEO. This one will be a good introduction for those beginner to intermediate level SEOs who want to maximize time to get more results. So how long does it take to create one landing page manually? This entire process can take anywhere from 1 to 3 days to up to a whole week in some cases, depending on the difficulty of the website. So let's say we're very speedy about this and it takes an average of 2 working days start to finish to do this. That's still 14 hours to create one single landing page. You're looking at around 6.5 months of work to create 100 pages in that case. So you can see why a lot of SEO clients and C-suite stakeholders have a problem with this, because it simply isn't efficient. And this is where programmatic SEO really comes in, to speed up tasks and give you and save you months of work. But what is programmatic SEO? It's simply an automated SEO strategy that lets you create targeted landing pages on a large scale. And it allows you to streamline your processes to deliver more results in a shorter time frame. That's all it is. What it includes is templates which define your page structure. It includes data and content to populate your page, and often includes dynamic elements that change up page to page to keep things relevant and fresh. And this is becoming increasingly important for us as SEOs, because big brands are already getting way ahead doing this. Every time you Google something like hotels in a city or jeans for bloating, it's very clear that these pages are made as part of a larger programmatic SEO strategy. You can look at any guides online talking about programmatic SEO and you will see explicit screenshots of how blatantly this is being done. So we need to find ways of making this work for us to close the gap. But here's why you're all here today though. How do we actually do this in practice? There are lots of guides online that talk about this, but I find they all offer the same overarching information with very few useful tips on how to actually do each step in practice. And I don't like that they position programmatic SEO as a linear start to finish isolated strategy. It doesn't have to be. You can just automate parts of the process that work for you where applicable. So we can't rely on these resources online to tell us how to do this. When you do implement automation in your strategies, you must do this in the most efficient way possible though, otherwise it's essentially useless. So what I'm going to do today is show you some bite-sized, tangible methods on how to do this that can be applied to your wider strategies that will save you months of work. And no surprise, we're going to start off with keyword research. Now, most resources online tell you to divide this into 2 parts. This is your header term, so in the case of landing pages, it'll be your service, category, or product, and your modifier, which is a variation of the header. And they say to do this by either inputting your header term into your keyword research tool of choice and then expanding this manually by browsing through these keywords for relevant terms, or they will tell you to list out all the header and modifier terms, again manually, and then sense check search volumes afterwards. Now, the biggest problem I have with both these methods is that they're not very programmatic, are they? It's a lot of manual input, and you're likely going to miss a lot of opportunities doing it this way. And it's very, very time consuming. Based on the resources that cite these methods, you're looking at an average of 36 hours of work just for keyword research alone before you start on anything else. But what if I told you we could do this in under 1 hour? First off, I would not waste your time researching your core products and your header terms. This is not a programmatic SEO task. This is wider SEO work that you should be doing already. And remember that we're creating landing pages here, so they will always relate to your service or product. So you should be quite familiar with these by the time you even come to doing any automation. So since we should know our header terms, our services and products, it's just a case of finding the modifiers. And the fastest way I found of doing this throughout the testing was to input your preposition into the keyword research tools. Because with landing pages, it will always be a service or product for someone in a location or with a feature. Anything outside of this template will be informational and is not relevant for landing pages. What this looks like in practice is you will input your preposition into the keyword research tool. The example here is looking for SEO agencies for different industries. You'll input your preposition and you'll use the inbuilt filters to filter for any variations of your header terms to capture all relevant terms and exclude anything that is completely irrelevant for your intent. You can anticipate most of these. For example, query-based terms are always informational. You can get rid of those straight away. The others you will find as you go through, and it's quite a fast task. Once you've exported this, you then need to do some data validation to remove anything redundant. Now, people online talk about lots of ways to automate and predict this, but we're trying to keep this very simple and script-free. And in my experience, there's always some sort of manual cleanup that you have to do at this point. So through my testing, I found the fastest way was just to filter the export and work your way through. There will be patterns that emerge that have made this faster. For example, years kept cropping up for me, SEO agency for dentists 2022, not very relevant. I can get rid of those very fast. But your goal here is to create a complete list of modifiers that you can create targeted pages for. From this list, you then need to identify all pages that we can target by separating your modifier from your keyword that you found. The fastest way to do this is by using the built-in functions in Google Sheets. Just use the autofill function immediately to get a full list of all modifier terms. You then want to get rid of any exact duplicates and consolidate these down. And you can use an inbuilt function again, which is just remove duplicates. So let Google Sheets do the heavy lifting for you in this case. Now, one thing you have to bear in mind is that modifiers that don't have exact match may have near matches. So like dentist, dental practice, orthodontist, they're not exact match terms, but they're the same audience essentially. So we want to ask AI to remove any of these near duplicates for us, so we're not having to go through and filter through ourselves. What AI will do here is group these together for you. So we're not creating too many pages for the same audience and we're capturing all the relevant terms on the same page. This will require you to manually validate this. You need to identify modifiers to hard target. And there are two ways you can do this. You can either opt for one modifier to hard target and then add in the other modifiers in your AI prompt, or you can hard target multiple. And really, you don't have to make the same decision across all the pages. It's just whatever makes the most sense. So for example, an SEO agency for dentists and orthodontists makes perfect sense and you're targeting two modifiers there. It's whatever makes the most sense. So by researching our keywords and cleansing our data with these steps so far has taken me just under 1 hour. So compared to the methods that we see online, we've already saved 35 hours of work. The next step, what we're going to do, is identify our page structure. And most resources online say to do this, again, manually, by looking up the keyword that you're trying to target and seeing what content ranks for it. Now, this is very time-consuming, and it doesn't have to be. With landing pages, you will have the most overarching service or product page already on your site. There's your template. Just automate your writing to fit that. But if you are going to research it, you can save a lot of time by getting AI to do the work for you. I would specifically recommend Gemini here, though, because in our experience of testing we're running on an ongoing basis, we are finding that Google is quite biased, and it slightly favours content produced by Google, by Gemini, but that's for a different talk later in the year. Stay tuned. But Gemini has this very good feature called the deep research function, where it will live analyse websites for you and give you back the detailed page structure you need to create content for. So this step doesn't have to take a long time at all, and AI can do a lot of the work for you. Once you've identified the structure, though, you need to map it out in Google Sheets, and it must be in Google Sheets for how we're going to upload the content later on. Your modifier will be in the first column, and then every column thereafter will be each section of content you're going to create. So by using no scripts so far, and we have only taken 1 hour to do all of this across keyword research and page structure. So we're doing pretty good so far. And we're almost there. We just need to fill out our page structure with content now, and we're going to automate this with AI. Now, most resources online gloss over this bit a lot, and very few give examples of very specific prompts that you need to use. So let me show you where to start. The easiest and quickest thing to sort out first is your meta title and your H1, and you'll use the same formula for both in Google Sheets. This formula is just a concatenate function, and it'll be the same across both. Bob's your uncle, you're done. For the rest of the content you're going to create, you will need to install some free extensions to help you with this writing. So these two ChatGPT writers are the best ones I've found. I'd recommend GPT for now, because these are the most readily accessible, intuitive, and free options that you can get. So using these extensions, what we're going to do is create prompts for each column, and you're going to instruct AI what each section needs to include in detail. Now, I did a lot of testing for this, and what I found is that this should be the absolute basis of your prompt. You need to instruct AI what the content should talk about topically, as well as the format that it should be in. So if you need an introduction, some bullet lists, even specific word counts, you need to say this very explicitly. If you give it a generic prompt, you're going to get very generic content, and no one wants that. The more advanced and the more unique your prompt, the better your content is going to be, and the better you'll be able to fight content duplication across the web. Just because we're doing AI content here doesn't mean it's no effort. So when writing these prompts, I would encourage you to be extremely explicit so it goes into enough detail, and tell it what not to do as well as what you want it to do. You can ask it to omit certain tones, keywords, topics, anything really. And give the prompt extra context. We know that AI learns from information that we give it, so get as much extra information as possible. You can cite websites in your prompt, for as an example, for tone purposes, data sources, anything. The more information you give it, the better your content will be. What you don't need to do, though, is edit or humanize this content. Through ongoing tests that we're running internally, we are finding that unedited AI content does drive traffic quickly and sustains this over time. Now, I can't go into this today because there's not enough time. Come talk to me after if you want to talk about it more, though. But we can save a lot of time by skipping this step entirely. And as much as it pains me to say this, Google's advice is actually quite sound here, in that AI content is neither good content nor bad content. It's just content. If it is designed and engineered to be helpful, then that makes it good. All that matters really is that you're helpful and adding value, and that you do not set all your pages live at once, because we know that's spammy. No one knows if this type of AI content will always rank well and work forever, but you can say the same about any human written content that you create today as well. Whenever content's published, it's very hard to know if it will always perform great, so I would encourage you to instead go away and test these methods out for yourself. Last step now is just to bulk upload the content to our website. And most people think there are only two options to do this. However, they are very expensive, and it can be a big roadblock for a lot of people. But there is secret option number 3, Type Mat. This is a very simple tool, no bells and whistles like the prior two, but it does allow you to bulk upload content very easily to your site. And even better, it's completely free. So I'm not only saving you time now, I'm saving you some money. In Type Mat, what you will do is copy and paste your URL for your Google Sheets, make sure it's shareable. And your columns will pull through as the tags, which will be used to populate the content of your page automatically. To do this, you'll go to this HTML editing area further down the page, and you will write out your headings and paragraph spacings, which will then become your entire page of content. You're going to fill each section of content with the tag that pulls through from your Google Sheet, and that's how it pulls through from. And the best bit about this is you don't need to know HTML coding, because it has these built-in presets for you. So you're making this do the coding work for you. You're not having to learn anything new. You'll then export all of this, follow the 4 steps to upload it to your site, and then it's ready for you to set live throughout the year as you see fit in your content calendar. For those of you wanting to keep a tally, this entire process, start to finish with a stopwatch, took me 3 hours to create 100 landing pages that are targeted. So you could do this before lunchtime one day if you really wanted to. And it's ended up saving us 6.5 months of work at Dark Horse. So if you want to take any of these methods away today and test them out for yourselves, I'd really encourage you not to rely on all the steps you see in resources online, because evidently there is quicker ways of doing things. Make sure you're being very specific with your AI prompts. Feed it information to give it valuable, unique content that fights duplication across the web. And remember that AI content as it is produced today won't be around forever, but neither will human written content if they're both produced right now. It's more important that you really strike that balance between creating your pages efficiently and maintaining relevance and value. So after today, I really encourage you to go away with these introductory methods that we've gone through, test them out yourselves and your wider strategies, and see what works for you and what parts of the process you want to automate. And let me know how fast you can do them as well. Because programmatic SEO can absolutely be a simple, no-script strategy and a great tool. And when used efficiently, clearly it can save you months of work to achieve more results faster. Thank you very much.